Welcome everyone, hello and good day. My name is Yen Ong and I'm Spotify's Head of Sales for Southeast Asia, Hong Kong and Taiwan. I'm thrilled to have all of you join us today at our brand new Singapore office, which only opened early this year. loveAudio is a series of global events designed to inspire and educate our clients on the power of digital audio, contextual data and creativity. Now, today's special edition called loveAudio Vertical Insider is designed for FMCG brands, and our aim is to showcase how we can address your business challenges with our unique media solutions. Now, while this is a virtual event, we want this to be as dynamic and interactive as possible. So, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A box located on the right side of your screen, and we will try our best to answer as many of your questions throughout the event. There will also be a live Q&A session right at the end. Globally, FMCG or CPG is one of the largest industries. It is also one of the sectors that has the largest subcategories, and with that comes different marketing and advertising needs to connect with different generations of consumers. While some advertising campaigns have had a long shelf life, such as have a break, have a Kit Kat, or share a Coke, there is an inevitable need to rewrite our playbooks in order to meaningfully connect with today and tomorrow's consumers. And in relation to Spotify's users, I am referring to the Gen Zs and the millennials. This generation of digital natives are less likely to settle for a slogan alone. They want to know the purpose and the philosophy behind your brand. They want brands to be engaged with culture, not just detached or just stay above the fray. And they want brands to reflect their diversity and capture their individual style. This evolving and uncertain consumer landscape poses significant challenges for brand advertisers, but on the flip side provides an opportunity for FMCG companies to overhaul and modernize their approach. Over the years, we have been consistently partnering various global and local FMCG brands in Indonesia to connect with these generation of consumers, to help address some of their biggest communication challenges, using our streaming intelligence to reach the most relevant audience at the right place, at the right time, and in the right moment. Over the past 18 months, we've witnessed a massive pivot within the FMCG sector to digitally influence and build brands, as winning shelf space no longer became a top priority. Data-driven marketing went beyond just efficiency in targeting or pricing, but with an increased focus on being seamlessly contextual, meaningful, and authentic. To do this, brands and marketers need to prioritize the platforms that can provide the human truth about their consumers and help shape their relationship with them. Brands need to work with platforms that give them a unique insight on their customers to better understand them. Imagine Spotify's audience as the biggest concert stadium in the world. The cheering fans in the stand are excited and engaged. They are the supermoms, the amateur chefs, the omni-channel shoppers, the very people your brand needs to engage with. Did you know that 56% of Gen Z stream at least 1 hour of audio every day? We reach your audience where other platforms can't go, because our listeners use Spotify to soundtrack their daily lives across a variety of content, contexts, and devices. We are uniquely positioned to help advertisers connect with the digital generation. Audio advertising performs extremely well for FMCG brands when we measure the positive brand lift results within a multi-platform environment. The top 10% of the measured campaigns tend to have nearly 3/4 of the impressions tied to audio. The bottom 10% of the campaigns tend to have less than half of the impressions tied to audio. FMCG campaigns perform best with 65% audio, 30% display, and only 15% video, primarily because our ad-supported listeners spend averagely about 2.5 hours a day with us across their devices. Now that's the amount of time it takes to cook or eat a 4-course meal. It is enough time to go through your entire shower, hair care, and skincare routine twice, or binge watch 3 to 4 episodes of your favorite series. It is also on par or longer than the amount of time they spend on some of the biggest video and social platforms. People are streaming more audio than ever. Audio streaming has been on an impressive climb to almost 92% in Indonesia in 2020 alone. That is not hard to imagine, because today there are more ways to listen through widespread adoption of smart speakers, connected home, connected cars, and Bluetooth-powered wearables. There are more to listen to with the rise of podcasts and access to the world's recorded music on streaming audio platforms. And as any regular Spotify users will attest to, more discovery and personalization. Recommending content based on what you like to listen to. Discover weekly on Spotify, daily mixes, release radar, your daily podcasts, etc. We believe that no other global company is as focused as Spotify on being audio first. And we have begun to accelerate our investment into this space. Recently, we just made strides to reimagine the audio experience with the launch of Spotify Green Room through the acquisition of Locker Room, a live audio startup. With audio starting to take center stage, our ambition is to help you navigate this space. Now, more than ever, it is important to consider where you are investing your efforts in creating an authentic, emotional, and personal connection with your consumers, especially with our core audience of Gen Zs and millennials. One of the most overlooked advantages of audio advertising is that it is a fresh playing field. According to Kantar's latest research, 56% of Gen Zs and millennials find audio as an escape from too much visual stimulation. It's time to consider an alternative to an absolutely crowded space across multi-screens. It is time to emotionally capture attention through their ears as audio streaming soundtracks their lives. Your audience are on Spotify, and they are ready to listen. For the next 60 minutes or so, we will be looking at how brands within the FMCG sector and how they can optimize marketing and advertising strategies through audio as a platform. We will be deep diving into the latest insights and creative solutions that we hope will help shape your next move. Don't forget to submit your questions via the Q&A box located on the right, as our panel of experts will be answering them live towards the end of the event. Last but not least, stay on to experience an incredible performance all the way from LA just for this event by the young and talented Remy Wolf. On that note, thank you for taking time to be with us today, and enjoy the rest of the event. Next up on stage, I pass the mic over to Max Koo, Director of Sales at Spotify, and Waris Jain, Director of Media Domain at Kantar, to take us through the latest media trends. Thank you.
Thanks, Yan. It's wonderful to have you join us today amidst a very busy day. My name is Max Koo, Director of Sales at Spotify. For the next 15 minutes, with Waris Jain, Director of Media Domain at Kantar, we will take you through our recently concluded Kantar incremental study, where we will uncover why the golden age of audio is now, and how you can take full advantage of the study while planning your marketing mix. Hello, Waris. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Max, and Spotify for having me here today. Hello, everyone. I'm Waris Jain. I lead media measurement practice for Kantar Singapore, and I had the pleasure of working with Spotify on this study to discover the golden age of audio and to understand what role it plays in consumers' daily life.
Fantastic. Let's begin with an easy one, shall we?
Yeah.
When we first started on this study, we wanted to measure how Spotify and audio played a part of everyday user life. And of course, the different moments, especially those screenless moments that they go through every single day, right? And of course, Kantar played a very crucial part in shaping how this survey, or rather this scope, was done. Could you help elaborate more on the methodology that we took?
So when we started working on this study together, Max, if you remember, we started off with a profound question, or a big challenge that we had was Spotify not being representative enough in the industry tools for buying audio advertisement or optimizing audio advertisement. And to look at that, then we begin at looking at certain questions that comes along with it, and we look at to understand how people are using different applications in their daily life, and what's the role of Spotify in that ecosystem. We then went by looking into who these listeners are on Spotify, what's their profile, what's their income or expenditure in case of Indonesia, and who they are, what do they do on Spotify, their behavior, and then ultimately looking at what does it mean for marketeers, how they can optimize their budgets to get the max out of their marketing budgets on Spotify.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about the the component of the study, right? Like in every other study out there, the most, or rather the key component is obviously the respondents that participated in this research. Let's dive a little bit deeper into how we selected those users.
So for Indonesia, given the size of the country, we went about doing about 1,500 interviews throughout the nation. We did those interviews in top 10 cities in Indonesia. We made sure that we have good representation of the national population and the profiles and demographics that we have in those cities. We also made sure that we have enough representation of the music streaming industry as well. So these are the points that were taken care of when we were looking at doing the survey.
Right. And of course, our participants would love to know why 1,500 people? Why not 3,000, right? Given the size and rather the population, right?
Yeah, I mean, so there are a few statistical things and statistical calculation that goes behind it, which helps us understand what's the sample size will be good enough for the representation of the nation. So we look at that. We look at the same time what's the audience segment, what's the target audience for the survey that we want to reach out to, and do we have enough representation of each of the segments that we want to later analyze. So having done all of those calculations, we thought 1,500 is obviously a good sample size in Indonesia to start with. Yeah.
And it's a pretty common sample size.
Yeah, I mean, mostly we do 1,500 or so in Indonesia. Sometimes even lower for some, but in this case we went about and did a bit of luxury study, Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. Before we go into further specifics of the study, were there any profound callouts that that you saw, from a Kanta point of view?
I think one big thing that came out, and not just came out, but this is now going on for quite a long time, that consumers in the digital ecosystem wants to be more in control of what they watch, what they listen, when they watch, when they listen, where they watch, where they listen. We have seen that happening in OTT category, where consumers are now shifting from TV only consumptions to getting more controlled and what they want to watch on the OTT platforms. Similarly, from just listening music on radio and whatever is being played on radio to an ecosystem where they are more in control on what they want to listen to, where they want to listen to, and what they want to listen to. So that is the very interesting thing that came out, and I think marketers should keep an eye on that, because it's a different ecosystem that's emerging now.
So, just playing along with what you just mentioned, the taking control, right? We do see, a lot of this uptrend that users want to take control of whatever they consume, and there are so many choices out there today, especially in a market like Indonesia. And when we talk about consumption, we saw that all of these changes are happening across Indonesia. And what we saw in our research, right, was that more than double of the survey respondents, 2.5 times to be exact, uses audio streaming apps than radio streaming services on a daily basis. So given this change, can you speak about how brands can actually leverage digital audio in their marketing strategy to reach this highly engaged audience?
This is exactly in line with what I was just saying, right? Which is consumer wanting more control and shifting to that era, and that's where the 2.5 times number is coming from, of consumers using Spotify on a daily basis more than what they do on radio. And for marketeers, what that means is basically they would look for how they can reach their audience on Spotify, right? That's the primary thing when they start looking at a marketing campaign, that who I can reach to, how many I can reach to, and when I can reach to them, right?
Yeah.
So looking at that, and from the study, what we discovered was that Spotify can deliver about 20% incremental reach over traditional radio channels. And that's really interesting, right? Because Spotify is not part of audio measurement at the audio planning at the moment. But imagine if a marketer just used Spotify as just another radio channel at the list, they can still get a huge incremental reach over their radio buys in itself. So I think marketers should certainly leverage this platform and take the max advantage of it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the point of this is also not to say that Spotify will overtake the radio. I mean, radio has been around for so long, but it's good for marketers to also understand how we can, or rather Spotify can complement their overall radio strategy.
Yeah.
Of course, like we've been talking about the audience, quite in-depthly in the last couple of minutes. Let's dive deeper into those listeners' profile and the screenless moments that we're talking about. And we all know, right, that Gen Zs are most likely to be engaged on digital platforms. Right, this is proven in every research that we've seen, especially on music streaming platforms. So, what else can you tell us about the other, or rather different generation of users?
So, I've done a lot of such research, Max. I've done studies where I've looked at how people are consuming different applications on their mobile phone or desktop or media in general. And whenever we looked at that, we always used to look at their screen time, how much time they're spending on their phone. But when I did this research, there was a new thing, which is screenless movement. So even though I'm not looking at my phone, I'm still using an application in there. And that's Spotify, perhaps. So that was interesting. And when we then deep dive into that particular moment, and what are those profound moments when people do use Spotify, we found out that Indonesians uses Spotify, and over more than half of them uses it while relaxing, commuting, traveling, and interestingly, during household chores.
Ah, okay.
That was, so it's like they'll play music and do cooking and stuff.
Right.
But at the same time, not so low, but over 1/3 of them also uses it during, meditation and exercising and stuff like that, which is also, a different moment of the day that they are listening to it. Right. So what that means for us marketeers is certainly different moments, different times of the day they can target to and make it more relevant on what activity they're doing at that point in time. So that comes in really handy. At the same time, what we found that the audience on Spotify is really rich. It reaches from all the way from middle class to upper middle class and to upper class, and all of them are using Spotify. So the kind of the audience and the mix that comes along with the platform is certainly very useful for marketers, I believe.
Yeah, thank you for those insights. Of course, with our audience being marketeers, they will obviously be very interested to find out, like, how can this possibly work from an audio advertising perspective, right?
Yeah.
We all know that there's always going to be a visual strategy, but how do you apply that given all these insights? And when we look and learn from all these insights, how do you feel that our Indonesian brands can best leverage the audience insights that they can find from this research, even if there's no music strategy?
Yeah. So one thing that to start with is ads on Spotify, right? We saw that nearly half of them who we talked to says that, and 47% to be the exact number, says that they find ads on Spotify more relevant than compared to other radio channels. So that's really interesting, right? And that comes with a key thing that they are more in control, so we know who they are,
Yeah.
and the ads accordingly then can be targeted to those specific audience.
Yeah.
So if I have a female-oriented campaign, I can only reach out to female
Yeah.
in my audio campaign, right? Whereas traditional radio channels who are into broadcast network cannot do that. They have one ad probably for all. So people may not find that relevant, especially when it's a female targeted campaign and males are listening to it. So, and vice versa as well. So to start with, that comes in that the receptivity of ads on the platform is really high, and the relevance is really high. The second thing is there are obviously screenless moments, which obviously then you can reach out to them using audio ads. But there are screen moments as well. Like, when they're partying, they're probably listening and watching lyrics and doing multiple things on their phone and selecting and playing the playlist and sharing it with their friends and stuff like that that they can do on Spotify. Then there are those, I think, display ads and video ads that also goes along with it. But probably that's more of a question to you, Max. Maybe looking at the campaigns on Spotify, I mean, I'm sure there have been a lot of marketeers who have been doing those campaigns, right? So what's the kind of mix that you see in different formats? Like, that would probably answer the question better than looking at the study itself, right?
Yeah. Thanks for the throwback question, Warish. Interesting that you asked that question. In fact, we actually did a annual analysis of 2020 for all the campaigns that we've run in 2020 globally for CPG, right? And what we have observed is that brands with the strongest brand lift uses a media mix of 65% audio, no more than 30% on display, and up to about 15% on video. And while doing audio alone is great because that's our strong suit, but what we do see is that the strongest connection is when brands take the multi-format approach, right? Of course, we all know for a fact that the right targeting to the right audience at the right time with the right message obviously also plays a very crucial role. Right. So I just want to, bring an example of a campaign that we've done previously with X. It's called X Mood Booster. Makes you feel just as good as you smell. That campaign was targeting obviously men between the age of 18 to 40, and during key playlist moments that resonates with men, like gaming, like getting ready, partying, workout, and romance. And the message was, how their new body will actually, new body smell will actually cheer them up. And we obviously layered a brand lift study on top of that, and what we found was that ad recall were up by 17 points.
17?
17 points. Brand awareness were up by about 7 points, and top of mind awareness was up by 4 points.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, when we do the right thing, plan it right, it does yield the type of results that brands want to achieve, right?
Certainly, I think that's one thing that marketers need to educate and probably get more information on how they can use these multiple formats, and to start with, use Spotify on at least their audio buys, right?
Well, looks like that is all the time we have on this topic. We can go on forever on this. But thank you so much, Warish, for your time again today. And most of all, thank you to all of you for your continuous attention in listening to us so far. If you like a copy of the content incremental study, The Golden Age of Audio is Now, please do reach out to your local Spotify sales rep today. Next up, we have Vanessa and Philippa, who will take you through how FMCG brands can optimize their audio strategy. Over to you, ladies.
Hi, my name is Vanessa.
And I'm Pippa, and we're creative strategists at Spotify Advertising.
So this session is all about how brands can tell better audio stories and make better ads. It will be sound immersive, so we recommend plugging in your headphones now if you've not already done so. So today, we will enter the exciting world of consumer goods using the power of audio.
Welcome to the world of consumer goods, of snacks and toiletries. condiments, and cleaning products, frozen food, and fizzy drinks. It's a world of our lives. Our moods and mindsets. Our ups. And downs. Even our most precious moments. It's the story of our everyday, and it can be told in sound. This is the power of audio.
So you've heard all about how you can use audio to drive greater impact with customers. Now, we're going to dive into the storytelling part of it and go through some creative principles that will help you build your brand story in sound. As you've just experienced, FMCG isn't just rich with product sounds. Sound design can also depict the micro moments in your customers' days. Do you know that these soundscapes can fire up your customers' imaginations? At the same time, they can make your brand story personal to your customers. That's because of the science of sound. When we use sound to paint a scene, the listener's imagination kicks in to complete the rest of the picture in his or her mind.
So, if listeners heard this, then they would complete what's going on with their own imaginations and, most likely picture their own families. These dinner sounds might make one person think of a meal with their favorite chicken curry dish. Another person might picture a family dinner with his mom's sambal fish or grandma's secret beef rendang recipe.
And that's the other thing about audio. It pulls up our memories. Audio is closely tied to memories and emotions because the part of the brain that processes memories is near the part that's connected to processing sound. In fact, sound is second only to scent in its power to evoke memories. So, tell a story with sound, or as we call it, use theater of the mind. Now, brands have a powerful tool to draw consumers into the brand story, but at the same time, let them add their personal touches to it.
Using soundscapes also helps save on word count and precious time. Like this example here. Let's have a listen.
Whether you're into or you prefer, fuel your game with Brand X coffee. Latte for creamy texture, mocha for a rich flavor, double shot for the extra edge. Brand X coffee. Tap the banner to buy now.
And if you want to take it to the next level, amplify your story with 3D audio. Fun fact, over 80% of our listeners are on headphones. So 3D audio gives them a truly immersive experience, like they're being transported into your brand's world. Here's how Fuse Tea tapped 3D audio and also the latest ASMR trend for their spot.
Serve yourself a little me time with Fuse Tea. Listen to our ASMR Mind Tingles podcast. Click now to stream on Spotify.
Telling your story in sound also includes branding. So instead of using typefaces and colors, use sound instead. Time to roll out the audio mnemonics, brand theme songs and jingles, and of course, your sonic logo. Let's take a listen at a few. I'm sure you recognize lots of those, if not all of them. And now is the time for your brand to really start thinking about sonic branding as well.
Another tip for storytelling, when it comes to voiceovers, keep it conversational. These days, messages have a more casual vibe. Listeners should feel like they're hearing about a tip or recommendation from a friend.
And very important, have a call to action. Learn more, shop now, grab some at a store near you. These are just some examples, but give your customers a next step as well as a destination and make it easy to remember.
And of the creative principles we're sharing today, this one's important. Context matters. Because this is digital audio, there are many ways to build out your campaign by location, age, or gender. But brands can also use our Spotify first-party data to target the customers they want in the right moment or mindset or mood. For example, X Ice Chill targeted Gen Z males in the Philippines with ads for the workout, party, dating, and jamming with friends moments. Here's the workout one. Have a listen.
Checking out those post-workout gains? Oh yes. But over-flexing and showing off? Whoa. Chill. Play it cool and spray the new Axe Ice Chill. Cool skin by up to 11 degrees. Cause you know, you're hotter when you chill.
So, context is important. 75% of listeners say they remember ads more when the ads recognize their moment or setting.
Other ways to get creative, especially if you're buying programmatically, is to try things like sequential ads or do A/B testing. Audio is a medium that can react fast, so you can tweak your strategy and your creative as you get new learnings. And while we've been talking about audio, don't forget that Spotify has video and display ad solutions too. Multi-format campaigns drive better results and give incremental reach.
So, does audio really work? Check out this experiment by Adrian North of Leicester University. It happens in a store where there's a shelf of French wine next to a shelf of German wine. So, for 1 week, French music played in the background, like this. And the following week, it was German music as the background soundtrack, like this. So, when French music was playing, French wine outsold German wine 5-1.
And I know what you're thinking, that's not that surprising. The French are very well known for their wines, but when German music was playing in the background, German wine outsold French wine 3-1. The most interesting part actually was that when people were asked if they bought the wine because of the music, less than 3% actually realized that there was any music playing in the background. The point is, sound isn't just powerful for storytelling, but it can also influence. So it can leave an impression with your customers, whether they actually realize it or not. So start thinking about the ways that audio stories can connect you to your customers.
To sum up, here are 3 takeaways for today. Tell a story with sound, cue your brand, and remember, context matters. And this is it for Creativity in Aisle 3. Don't forget to submit your questions for the live panel session later, where I'll be there with other audio experts to answer it all. You can add your questions to the box on the right. Thank you. And with that, let's see how top FMCG brands in the region use the power of audio. In Indonesia, Nestle Lactogrow had a Grow Happy campaign that successfully targeted parents and children with a branded profile and annotated playlist. It drove over 10 times ROI. Let's watch.
In 2020, as COVID impacted upon families in drastic ways, Nestle Lactogrow shifted their Grow Happy campaign to Grow Happy di Rumah Aja or Grow Happy at Home. As part of this new focus, Lactogrow needed to find new ways to support parents with young children staying at home. So they collaborated with Spotify to create the Lactogrow annotated branded profile and a series of Grow Happy di Rumah Aja playlists designed to enrich at-home activities for young kids and their parents. Grow Happy Play and Dance, a playlist for kids and parents to sing and dance to. Grow Happy Makeover Time, a playlist to create a playful parenting time. Grow Happy Artsy Bitsy, a playlist for kids and parents who like to play with art, and many more. How did we reach Lactogrow parents? Spotify targeted engaged streamers of kids and family content using high-impact, multi-format ads that invited them to visit the Lactogrow annotated branded profile and stream the Grow Happy Di Rumah Aja playlists, including display ads, audio ads, and video ads. Lactogrow were able to reach over 10.8 million people on both Facebook and through programmatic, and over 9 million impressions were served on Spotify, resulting in over 64,000 clicks and over 47,000 minutes of streaming, showing that playlists with annotations shows a 50% higher number of streams than playlists without annotations. So who is engaging with the ads? Who is listening to the playlist? As a result of the campaign, Lactogrow saw an increase in consideration of their brand and an increase in market share. During the challenge of a global pandemic, Spotify helped Lactogrow to accelerate their growth and create a valuable resource for parents and kids to grow happy di rumah aja.
Welcome to the Q&A sessions. My name is Farina Ria. I'm the sales lead for Spotify Indonesia. Here with us today, we have Vijay Anand, the head of creative Vayner Media from APAC, and also Mas Adlin Nur Sharif, digital strategist for PT Sasa Inti, and also, of course, our creative strategies lead for Spotify Asia, Vanessa. Hi guys, hello, how are you?
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so let's start with the first questions from Sandra. When and where do you suggest running digital audio to your FMCG clients, especially during COVID? I would say in Spotify, but let me, perhaps VJ and Vanessa can answer these first questions.
Yeah, cool. I can go first, Vanessa, before you get into it. Interesting question, but my answer would be not when and where, but how and why. I think during these times, like people are super stressed. Everybody's stuck at home. People are working from home. How can brands give value to consumers? I think that's important, right? So the why and the how, right? The how is, how can brands give value to consumers? You need to entertain and have fun with the consumers, right? And not just sell. I think nobody wants to see ads anymore, right? How do we show the audience that we actually care for them? If it's just ads, people will block or they will skip it, right? So how can brands be in there? So I think music is something that it's not ads, right? People listen to it when they're sad, when they're happy, when they're doing work, when they're stuck at home. So I think that's quite a powerful tool to use and embed your brand. So embed your messages in that, right? And the how you do it is you need to do it in a very interesting way as well. And you got to be very creative and super out of the box, right? It's in the 90s. You remember all those jingles in TVCs that people used to do, but now it's so different because we've got Spotify, we've got technology and using audio in a smart way, right? So imagine creating a playlist for while you are getting your hot cup noodle, your Indomie to be ready. That's a smart way to do audio and using a platform like Spotify. Or imagine your brand is a soothing cream lotion. What if we come out with soothing signs and use tech sounds and technology to make people feel like they're at ease? Or what if you could create a playlist when you're scrubbing your house floors, or to inspire you with music to do house chores, right? I think that's the smart way to kind of use audio in this situation in our current times. Vanessa?
Yeah, thanks, VJ. So yeah, to add to what VJ said, right? You can find the right moods and moments and mindset that consumers are in, and then reach out to them with the right message. There's also the who. So I think if you're reaching out with Spotify, you can target. So if you're gonna send a message to guys, and what's their reason to believe, then you would cater the message to them. Whereas for women, the reason to believe might be different. So then you can cater a different message that's tailored to them. So the example is like, I like to use John Wick, the movie. It's like if you're talking to guys, it's like, hey, there's this movie, it's got action and car chase. But then if you're talking to women, it's like, oh, there's Keanu Reeves and a cute puppy dogs, things like that. So again, it's like being able to tailor your campaign to the who and then also the when. So like, as VJ mentioned, is like whether the person is cleaning, then here's the message from Mr. Muscle to reach out to them. If the person is chilling down at the end of the day, here's the message that you could send to them. I think that's what Dove did. So Dove body wash actually in the morning had one message to women. If you're starting the day, here's how you can, have a pick me up to, start the day fresh. And then at the end of the day, when, after a long day of work, Dove sent a different message to women talking about how you can, decompress and Dove can pamper you and all that.
Okay, thanks, Vanessa and VJ. The second questions, it's from Fitri Wijaya. I think this is can be also combined with Hansel questions, like what makes Spotify can be relevant campaign solutions, especially for FMCG products in Indonesia. I think Mas Adlin also can answer this. In tight with Fitri questions, how does brand like Sasa leverage digital audio in their media mix?
Okay, thank you for the question. First of all, digital audio is a very interesting platform. Well, at least for a food company like Sasa, because our audience are more familiar to visual content rather than the audio itself, right? So, but we believe that there's a lot of potential to dig more from this platform, especially during this state of pandemic. If we talk a bit about our latest Sasa anthem that was launched on Spotify, for instance, we almost got 3 million reach. And in addition, those listeners are mainly from the millennials age group and Gen Z. It's kind of pretty effective because we always keen to dig more into other platform, digital platform, especially. When we get the result and there's a millennials age group and Gen Z that listen to our anthem, it's pretty good because millennials and Gen Z are our main focus right now. As we aware of that leverage, we recently also started to create some podcasts. And what VJ also said, we also created a playlist on our official Spotify and so on. So yeah, maybe we're just getting started, but I think digital audio platform is a very, very interesting platform for digital campaign as well, for a brand as well, for the campaign itself and the advertising itself.
Cool, thanks, Mas Adli. Oh, perhaps Fija and Vanessa, you have an additionals, like how can Spotify can be relevant campaign solution for the FMCG brands in Indonesia?
Vanessa, you want to go first?
I'll add to that. I think to add to what Evan said about how music is so big. Spotify is also not just ads and music. You can also leverage annotations. I think if you looked at the case study just now, you can build a brand profile with a brand playlist, so you can curate your music experience that you want to reach out to your target audience, and then you can actually add additional content to there. So you can put in little spoken word messages in between songs. It can be short, I think Warner Brothers did this one where it was for Creed 2, where they had little messages during a workout playlist, don't stop, keep going. And then there are other brands that can do longer versions, like what Lactogrow and from Nestle did, where it was like mom brand ambassadors sharing tips about activities to do with kids, whether it's for art or to sing and dance and things like this. So there's a lot of flexibility there. It's not just a 30-second ad. You can actually work in more content, almost mini podcast episodes in your music playlist. So just think bigger, and also know that Spotify is not just audio ads, although that's our strong point. We also have visual and display ads, and multi-format campaigns, as I think mentioned earlier, actually perform better for FMCG brands because you're reaching listeners, when they are actually listening and absorbing the content, or when they're looking at screen, and then that's where you serve them visual media.
I just want to add one thing as well. I think Mas Adlin and Vanessa brought podcasts up quite a bit. I think not a lot of brands are embracing podcasts, and I think it's a super smart way for brands to go in. And I'll give a non-FMCG example only because I used to work in Gojek before VaynerMedia. I was the head of creative in Gojek, and we use us and we use Spotify to actually recruit some of the best engineers and the tech people around the world, but without making it like a hiring recruitment program. We were actually quite smart in using Spotify and podcasts because we know a lot of people consume educational content. They want to get better in their lives, right? So we embedded our messages. Hey, we're looking for the best programmers, but listen to these programmers in Gojek and listen to their and get knowledge for them. At the same time, we use Spotify to recruit people. So I think it was a smart way to use podcasts as well. So I think just step out of your boundaries, look at things that as a FMCG brand, look at things what other brands are not doing, like a podcast. Not a lot of people are doing it. So how do you get into there? How do you make things that are interesting in those formats as well?
Okay. We have another questions from Diana. What is your favorite example of a brand who used Spotify as part of their ad campaign in creative way? I think Vanessa can answer this.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite examples that was actually quite recent was from IKEA, where they had this campaign that was like a baby-proof campaign. So again, back to the who, how, and when, they were targeting parents who used to play baby playlists or lullaby playlists to help their children sleep. And then the ads would be tailored for that moment. So it was all very whispery, it's all very soft. It's like, we know that your baby is sleeping, so we're keeping this ad really soft, and so we won't wake the baby. So it's actually a very clever campaign talking about IKEA and, like, the baby beds and all that, the cribs and all that. So I think it actually won quite a few awards at the One Show and at Cannes as well. So that was one clever use of how a brand can use audio, and just use audio as it's like, the medium to tell the story that's best for this medium.
Cool. And okay, we have another questions from Hariman Saragi. It said, does Love Audio uses Spotify users' data to ensure the ad target relevant to users, similar like Facebook and Instagram? I think I can answer this a bit. Yes, we use basically we have a streaming intelligence to ensure that the ads will be targeting the relevant users at the right time and at the right moments, because we using a real time targeting. Vanessa, you want to add some?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to advertising, it's like when the ads are more relevant to the consumer, it's like, they remember it more because it recognizes their moment and setting, and it also feels more personal because it feels like the ads are made for them. I think 65% of listeners actually recognize that, like, when the ads are made for me, I remember the ads more. So I think when it comes to personalization, one thing that actually is in the innovation space for audio is actually dynamic audio, where you can make, like, different, like, 12, 20 different ads to target different consumers at different moments. But dynamic audio does that automatically with real-time data. So you can actually, what the listener will get will, like, hear 30-second ads that seamlessly stitch together based on things like our data, like our first party data, like age, gender, location, but also data like time of day, day of week, or even weather. So a mom in Jakarta might hear a message like, hey, it's hot outside, why don't you stop by McDonald's and get a ice cold drink? But then someone else in another city might get a message like, maybe it's a dad. It's like, oh, it's raining here. Why don't you stop by McDonald's with a family and get some, like, cheeseburger and fries? So things like this. So you can tailor the ad to the people in the city based on the day or time of day and even weather, and becomes so much more personal to all these people.
Thanks, Vanessa. And Mas Adlin, we have a question from Muhammad Arfaka Khalifatullah. What kind of audio content would suit the Indonesian FMCG consumer best? I mean, from your experience with Sasa, what kind of audio content that you think this is perfect for your consumers?
First of all, we just launched our Sasa anthem that I already said before. It was a song sung by Hi-Fi Indonesian band, and then it was went viral on the YouTube, and then the a lot of the audience said, please have it on Spotify. So because of that demand, we launched it on Spotify, and uh, and then there's a lot of inspiring creative advertising going on Spotify, and then that's why we started to create a audio play and started to put more about our product there to give an audience a glimpse of our range of product, because we still have our main focus is to gather a new audience. It means the Gen Z and millennials, who are the Spotify users, right? So yeah, uh, maybe it's a start for us to create a podcast, or we call it as a audio playlist with a ASMR and stuff like that, to give them a bit of experience while listening to our show. That's why we started to create the podcast.
Okay, thank you, Mas Aldin. But there is follow-up questions after this, because Fahmi asking, Sasa is a trusted brand within Indonesian family with traditional ad approach in the past. Is there any doubt at first when you try to this new form of ad? Like, what
Okay.
makes okay?
Yeah. First of all, we always differentiate our target audience into three categories. I always said like this: past, present, and future. When we talk about a past generation, we talk about all their audience, the loyal consumer of Sasa who already know Sasa for a long time. And as for this category, our main objective is to maintain their loyalty. That's why we're focused into offline activity or other kind of conservative approach. But for the second and the last one, the present and the future generation, um, this is the audience that we are keen to um, approach, because the audience of the millennials audience who currently on their productive age 25 to 40, the one who actively using internet as their everyday tools and stuff like that, are the main our main focus right now. And as for the future generation, the Gen Z and so on, our focus towards this audience is to introduce Sasa as a heritage brand. Um, and then maybe there's some question, why put focus to the younger generation who are not buying our product yet? Well, I have to say, because in the near future, they will grow and becoming our mentor as well. So yeah, we kind of give them the early stage stimulus to getting know better about our product. And that's why we use Spotify, because I think if we listen to it every day, it kind of stimulate your mind for our product. Maybe they can get a some kind of like a subliminal message from our product, our brand as well.
Wow,
So
there's a brilliant
yeah.
strategy. Okay, is there anything else?
Oh no, that's it.
Okay, cool. I think, well, we have still 7 minutes more. There's a question from JT. For creative, please share tips and tricks on how brands can use digital audio most effectively. I think Vijay and Vanessa can help to answer this.
Yeah, cool. I'll just jump straight into that, right? I think tips and tricks, the old school way of doing audio is you write an amazing audio script and you use sounds and how to captivate people just with the audio script but that's for the old way of doing audio, right? Now you got so many different ways, like just listening to Mazadlin and Vanessa and all these brands that are doing things that are very different. There's smart ways, like I was saying earlier as well, smart ways of using audio. Example is using static noise. A diaper brand can use static noise to make babies sleep, and that's, like I always say, like the value that you bring, the using the science behind audio to create something. Or even, like we found out that songs at certain BPM can make you calmer, can make you relax. So any brands that are that want to relax their consumers can use those kind of sounds, right? So be smart, be really out of the box. Use sound not just to create like a special, like a cool script or a funny script or an interesting script, but use it in a smart technological way to kind of give value to your consumers. I think that's a good way to think of creative and audio, right?
Like, for example, an ASMR sound.
Yeah, I think ASMR, there's so many different ways of doing it. Like ASMR for eating is always amazing when you start hearing people drink a can of, like just opening a can of Coke and just drinking it.
Yeah.
That itself can feel like,
In a
wow, I
dry
want to
hot
drink.
day.
Yeah, it feels so refreshing. Or even noodles, like when you listen to someone slurp using ASMR, I'm sure people will want to go and have your product right after that, right? There's so many ways of using audio in a smart way.
Yeah,
Vanessa,
to add to what DJ said, is like it's so true. There's so much potential in audio. You can use the psychology of how we react to sound. It's like, we know that our hearing is always on. So that's why we can, like, hear our name being called even though we're in a busy place. So use things like this and do, theater of the mind. It's like tell a story with sound. It's like, audio is also so personal. It's like it's so tied to memories and experiences. So, like, there's that jingle from Paddle Pop or from Walls. It's like you hear the song, immediately it's not just ice cream, it's Paddle Pop, it's Walls. So there's also branding to it. And then if you use the latest trends like ASMR or you tap 3D audio, you can really transport the listener into your brand story. And then your brand story can pull from, like, memories, like whether it's like someone going on vacation for a beach holiday or traveling or just like having dinner with friends and family. So all those sounds actually will transport people into, like, their personal experiences. So you can use all this when you're telling, FMCG stories, because FMCG is so tied to our everyday lives, whether we are going to school or going to work or just eating meal times or doing housework. All these are so rich with sounds. So tapping all these sounds in 3D audio or with, like, ASMR trends to really bring your brand message to listeners, and then tapping digital to really, like, get the right listener to hear the right message. And
Great,
don't
thanks,
branding.
Vanessa.
So yeah,
Sorry?
I think, yeah, branding is also very important when it comes to, like, brands and sound, because there's no logo or pictures or colors.
I think that's an interesting one. I wanna add a bit about branding, sonic branding, right? A lot of brands don't pay attention to the ident of the sound. So an example as well, non-FMCG again, something that we used to do in Gojek was we created the sonic branding for Gojek that was on the app. So every time you order the sound, there's one sound, but the sound also became the sound that's in every end of the ad. And if you can turn that sound into also a song, like get a famous singer to sing on it, that's a smart way to build on your brand. Because I think, like Vanessa said, there is no logo in audio, but audio has the power to make you remember. So if it's in all your ads and then you create something out of that, people will start remembering that too.
Yeah. Thanks, VJ, for the insights. And we have a questions also from Mas Ricky Dirmawan. I think this is can be answered with Mas Adlin. Biasanya, untuk makanan or seasoning product is using a video to show, the enjoyment or the kenikmatan akan makanan tersebut. Bagaimana audio bisa trigger hal ini juga? Mungkin Mas Aden di kreatifnya waktu Sasa buat ini untuk di Spotify. How do you trigger the seasoning with audio to show that this is so good, or will make your food really really good?
Well, I already explained about our audio play. First of all, we try to create a story that we can tell using our product. So we chose a something like a comedic genre, and then we put it the process of cooking the food within. So we combine storytelling and the ASMR for the seasoning product. So we can listen to the pouring flour and kind of like that. Yeah, maybe it's just a start. And Vanessa also talk about 3D audio. Maybe we can use it as well in the future. I think it's kind of pretty. So we can imagine with the 3D sound, the sound of while we're cooking. This is very interesting.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. We still have a couple questions left, but our time is limited. Our time is up. But thank you for all the guest panel, VJ, Vanessa, Mas Adlin. Thank you for your time and insightful idea and sharing. And also our audience, thank you for attending the event. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Hopes today session is insightful for you and you have had fun at the event as much as we did. Any further questions, you can reach out to me, to us in id-sales at spotify.com. And don't forget to submit your NPS survey to get a chance to win an exclusive gift from Spotify. Next up, we have a talented Remy Wolf performance. Stay tuned and keep safe. Talk soon.